All right. Good morning, everyone. How we doing? Happy Tuesday. We are back at it this morning, taking a look at NQ. So yesterday we ended up seeing nearly a test in an all-time high, not quite into that all-time high, not quite a true test of the all-time high, but pretty close. Pretty close. All right. We're talking about, let's see how many points away. We're talking about here about 50 points away from the true all-time high at 25,027. Buyers failed to really hold that prior overnight high from yesterday, right around 913, 911 area. And once that failed to hold, once we see that break of that 910 area, fresh session lows are made on the day, then you pretty much just see this choppiness near 24,800. Overall, pretty slow day. Volume was very, very low yesterday. You have some isolated upticks in volume when those fresh lows on the session are being made. But broadly speaking, it's a pretty low volume day. For today, really what I want to be focusing on is how price is going to be responding to the prior day low and that 800 level of interest right through there. Blue highlighted area right there on the chart. I want to see if buyers can kind of step in, continue to defend this point, and give us a push back into potentially prior day high. First target, of course, would be overnight high, then up into prior day high if this area can continue to hold. Now, the challenge with this idea is that if this is actually going to be a near term range that is building out, this 800 level, this prior day low area, is still near the upper portion of that near term range, right? So if we end up seeing a failure here at 800 at that prior day low and even through the overnight low, personally, I don't want to be a buyer until this point way down here, 524. So it'd either be 524 or some higher time frame reversal signal like a 30-minute or 60-minute reversal signal. That's pretty much the game plan for this morning. Primarily focused on how price responds to 800 and that prior day low. And that'll pretty much guide my decision making for the morning and for the day. We do have a 9:45 a.m. data print. And we do also have a 10 a.m. data print. So you want to keep an eye on those data prints. We'll see what sort of volume we get today. We are supposed to have NFP later this week. I was reading this morning, there's a potential government shutdown. So if the government does shut down, there is the possibility that NFP will not be reported. So that is still up in the air. We'll see what happens over the next couple of days. Just keep that in mind. Let's see, we got about 2 minutes till the open here, a little less than 2 minutes till the open. Let's take a look at our overnight action. So overnight, pretty much sideways. You do have a little look beneath the prior day low there. I was quickly reclaimed. Now we're just trading near that prior day close. Really just sideways action near that prior day close. Overnight volume point of control is right here at 24,818. Prior day low is 24,780. Current overnight low is 24,754. And then we have that level of interest, the 24,800, which is becoming more apparent on that hourly chart there. So let's see what this morning gives us here. We can see that prior day volume point of control right here near 830. pretty much right where the prior day close is. And that's where all the volume was concentrated from yesterday's session. All right, here comes that open. 10 seconds. There's your open, 820.5. Overnight high is 856. NQ getting into 800. Prior day low, 780. And we're looking at the reaction here at 800 prior day low area. Treating this, it's a little bit wide, but treating this like a 20-point zone. We do have, like I mentioned earlier, we do have that 9:45 a.m. print and then a 10 a.m. data print. We have jolts at 10 a.m., potentially market moving. So no real interest at 800 here, and we get into the prior day low. There's a little look beneath the prior day low. If this area fails, you're looking at overnight low, 754. Looks like no interest there at prior day low so far. And here comes overnight low. So no prior day low spring setup. We get into the overnight low. Volume kind of fell off. Beneath overnight low. Again, like I had mentioned earlier, that's going to be a hands-off situation for me personally. So it's kind of line in the sand for buyers here. It'll be a wait till 10 a.m. sort of morning if we see overnight low actually fail. Coming into Friday's close here. If you like to trade ES coming into the 6,700 level of interest. Back in a prior day low. So no sweep of the overnight low. At least not yet. And Q new low of day. Here comes your overnight low. 754. Look at that volume. Not good. Not good. Fresh lows being made. Looks like you have Trump speaking right now. Volume is great on MNQ. Noted. Good to know. Good to know. RTY on its own this morning, up through overnight high. Reclaim of overnight lower, no man's land until 650. I don't have anything at 650, but yeah, right now overnight low is main watch for me personally. Getting back in a prior day low. ES, nice hold of the 6,700. Back in a VWAP. A good level there. Level of interest we mentioned a few minutes ago. Not loving the volume here. We do have that first data print in about 3 minutes. Chicago PMI at 9:45 a.m. and then JOLTS at 10 a.m. See if we get some volume following those data prints. Chicago PMI, more of a minor print, but that JOLTS can sometimes be market moving. There's that opening 15-minute bar getting ready to close. So weekly volume point of control, I mean, it's only Tuesday morning, but weekly volume point of control up through here. See the rejection this morning. Buyers are doing decently there at overnight low. Spring setup is holding so far. See if prior day low can be reclaimed. Then back up into 800. Data print in 10 seconds. There's 800. It's a decent little bounce. Now we want to see how 800 is going to be treated. You have ES coming into session high. That ES setup, clean, clean. Focus for me probably should have been there. ES new high of day. Reason being is level of interest always takes priority over reference points. And you had ES at the 6,700 level of interest. Beautiful. So NQ above 800, really looking for session volume point of control, and then that session high, 818, 830 area. For right now, just bumping into VWAP. A little bit better volume here on that last 1 minute candle. And it looks like session volume point of control attempting to shift a bit lower, 793 area. There's VWAP rejecting, but price just right back into prior day low. This is a tricky little spot through here. Personally, I like to see a little push up above VWAP into the session high. Des looking for that rejection. Yeah, it's a good spot for it. It's definitely a good spot for it. Back beneath prior day low. Coming for that overnight low. Yeah, ES rolling over as well. So let's see how this thing's going to resolve here. 10 minutes till 10 a.m., 10 minutes till jolts. Does hit two of your TPs and then hit your break-even point. That's all good. On to the next, good sir. On to the next. NQ back in an overnight low. Volume below average. Like 50%. Main focus right now is pretty much intraday structure. It's kind of purple outline here. This was the spring setup, showed good follow through up in a VWAP, overnight low spring setup. VWAP rejects, you got the level of interest right through there as well. And back in overnight low. With data in 6.5 minutes. And Q new low of day right there. So this is that no man's land for me personally. Beneath that overnight low, you do have the weekly open, so Sunday night open right in this area, but personally will not be setting risk against that point. Look at that volume coming in. Dave still in the short. Nice. Heck yeah, man. Wow, look at that weekly open respected nicely. It's good to see. Rich and Dave, nicely done. And 3 minutes till 10 a.m. Jolts here at 10 a.m. All right, Jolts in 90 seconds. 10 a.m., 90 seconds. ES, very nice bounce versus prior day low. Kind of an intraday spring setup right through there as well with the 6,700 level of interest. Good setups this morning in ES. NQ, so far we've had the overnight low spring and then the reject, the 2-hour trader framework, the reject there near the level of interest and VWAP for a nice short. Here's 10 a.m. There's Jolts. As of right now, post 10 a.m., we're looking at prior day low in the 800 level of interest. Buyers really looking for a break of this structure, this intraday structure right through here. Little intraday change of character. Meanwhile, you have ES making a new high of day. There's that tricky spot between VWAP and the prior day low. See if we can get that change of character. What is that, like 806, 8065? Bumping into it right now. Meanwhile, ES, new high of day. There you go. Potential change of character in the making. That was a good bounce versus the weekly open. I had mentioned I didn't want to set risk against that point based on pre 10 a.m. weakness. Ended up working nicely. No position there, personally. So above 800, above this 806 area, pretty much clear to the session high, and then the overnight high is upside targets. Would like to see more volume in this market, but some decent action so far this morning. 5 minute just looks like barcode. Some pretty wide candles there, but barcode nonetheless. And no hold above the 806. So no true change of character there. That's a failure. With an uptick in volume. And right back in overnight low. So I'll focus more now on this intraday structure. Basically 725 by 810. Right through here. All right, this area right through here. Gabe caught that rejection. Nice. Got value area low right at 757. Don't love the bounce there personally. I like a little bit lower. RTY session lows into prior day low. NASDAQ just sitting on overnight low, 750 area. Sideways range for the day so far. Sideways range for the morning, 725 by 810. Sideways structure. Will you be taking any trades today? I don't wake up and decide when I'm going to be trading. The market decides that based on the setups that are provided. So I trade when I have edge. If the edge is there, I trade. This morning, we tried two longs. One of them took a full stop. Next one was profitable into VWAP there. First one a little premature. Thought we'd see the bounce versus overnight low. Get stopped. Grab the spring setup. Same idea. Just a little bit of a better entry. A little more buffer there on that first entry. Could have held it, but did not have that much conviction. And that's it for this morning so far. As far as will I be taking any more setups today? Like I said, I have no idea. Will there be an opportunity for me? Will there be a setup with edge, setup within my playbook? Questions like that are a bit concerning, to be honest. Shower based trading. Talking about the weather forecast, Rich? What are you talking about? Like I know it's a lot. It's a little bit different tuning into this live stream, and you may have watched some other streamers who are just punting. They're just taking their accounts and punting whatever for the viewership, for the memes, for the laughs, and sometimes for some profit. I'm not here to. I'm not here for the entertainment aspect. This is just I'm trading my edge, and that's it. It can be a bit boring, but the goal is not to be it's not really a show. It's not really entertainment. It's not what I'm doing here. Trying to educate, trying to help people see the light, encourage patience, encourage discipline, encourage good trading habits. And a lot of times it's going to be super boring, to be honest. But that's always what we've been about here at the Power Trading Group. If you're not bored when you're trading, you're probably over trading 100%. 100%. Spot on. Yep, yep. That deserves a pin right there. Profitable trading is often boring. Exciting trading is often not profitable. Yep. 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 Will there be any discount on one-on-one trading mentorship and coaching on upcoming days? Black Friday is the only time I run any discount. After Black Friday, I'm closing the one-on-one program. Getting out of the coaching game, getting out of mentorship. So if you have ever wanted it, November 1st. Wait, when is Black Friday? End of November? December 1st. The program will be closing for new applicants. Existing clients, of course, we will continue, but I'm not taking on any new applicants after that. My coaching days are coming to an end. We'll be pushing into more automation. Long hours chained to the desk will be coming to an end. It's going to be a multi-year process, but that's my goal. That's my personal goal. I can't be sitting at the desk 16 hours a day anymore. Can't be doing that. So it's kind of the 3-year vision, more automation, less manual trading. I'll probably still do some manual trading just because I really like it. I love the game. And some setups, they are a little bit too discretionary in nature to fully automate, but really going to be cutting back on the manual trading. It'll be like firm 90 minutes in the morning and then just calling it after that. Let the automation do all the work for the afternoon. Just evolving coaching, Rich. Yeah. So plan is to keep the group coaching open. TMG will stay open, but the one-on-one program is definitely coming to an end. Gabe, spring setup automation. That's the goal. That is the goal. We got the 2-hour trader framework nicely automated right now. How's automation going right now? Are you making progress with that? Yeah, we have the 2-hour trader automation fully set up. It actually just caught this short right here this morning. So that's really nice. That basic strategy took quite a while to get fully automated. It was like a year and a half before it was ready. I learned a lot about how much of the strategies we trade are discretionary in nature, and getting that down into code is more difficult than I originally imagined. Way more difficult. And that is the easiest setup within my framework. So the other ones are going to be a little bit more difficult to figure out, but we'll get there. It's just going to take some time. It's going to take a bit of time. Just got to be patient with it. NQ still holding this structure. Overnight low held. I didn't love the bounce here. Wanted a little bit lower down into this zone. Come back into 800, 810. Been down the coding rabbit hole too without the background of being a profitable trader. Yeah, it helps. It helps to have experience, helps to have frameworks already in place so you can kind of get a better sense of what the automation is doing and whether or not it's actually following the strategy. NQ rolling over right there at VWAP, session volume point of control, and the level of interest. So the structure is getting a little bit tighter here. Let's see if we get a break of this structure maybe in the next 10 to 40 minutes. 10:20 right now. All right, man. Take care. Nicely done this morning. There's definitely a risk, Gabe. That's why it's capped. That is why it's capped. But yeah, on a large enough scale, there's definitely risk of edge dilution. I don't think we will get anywhere close to that, at least with the automation that we're offering right now. But yeah, it's definitely it's a thought. That's why we have hard caps automation. Another rejection right there at 800. So the structure, like I mentioned a few minutes ago, is definitely getting a bit tighter. I like to see a little bit of expansion away from this range. If everyone's placing the same trades, that's what makes support and resistance work. Yeah, there is some degree of self-fulfilling levels and concepts. Absolutely. I wouldn't say that's the whole story, but there's definitely a degree of it. All right, Gabe, take care, man. We'll see. Yeah, this range is definitely getting a bit tighter here. Post 10 a.m. I've not done anything. I'm just chilling. I suspect it'll break though. So Let's see. Let's see if we get the structure to break. 1 for 2 on the morning, lightly green. Nice, Gabe. Gold has been moving solid. I've been keeping an eye on it as well. Haven't really placed any trades there, but you'll see some nice moves all the time in GC. Next 30-minute bar opens up here in 10 seconds. See how it looks. 1 hour into the morning. So that most recent 30-minute bar closes as a doji. All right, back in 800. Can we see the structure break? Here we go. Into 805. A little better here. See if we get some expansion away from this consolidation. We need some action above 810. Yeah, the full chart setup is right here. It's the second or third post in the resources tab of the Traders Think Tank. I'll post a link there in the chat. NQ looks like structure's holding for now. Basically, there's the edge points. Five-minute continues to show just pure barcode. So really what I need here is a test into the lowest portion of the structure that shows some signs of holding or a break of the structure before getting involved again. You have RTY into session lows coming into overnight low right now. And you have ES with a very, very similar sideways structure coming back into 6,700, which has been a good level all day. Well, 5 minute pretty much tells the story here. Sideways. Consolidation Nation. ES just marked a fresh low on the session. Looks like prior day low being tested, overnight low just beneath. NQ another bounce versus overnight low. Little uptick in volume there. Structure is definitely tightened. How we doing? How's everyone's morning? NQ just right back there into 800. Slight green now waiting. Playing the range, chopped up a bit. Yeah, it's a little choppy here, no doubt. No doubt about it. I like a break of the structure for any new positions in NQ, ideally. Just keep it safe. I like to see a bit more of a push out of ES here for the old XFAs. Who knows the setup there that I took? Should be pretty obvious.
Order filled.
There we go. NQ back into that structure high, 24,805 area, 810 area. Rich, latest NQ idea worked out long off structure support. Very nice, sir. ES, I like the trail just beneath 6,700 now. We want to target a structure high up into 610. Or excuse me, 710 on ES. Same sort of idea on ES as NQ, although with ES you have the spring setup. So you have prior day low, overnight low, and then the session low. It's like a three-way spring, if you will. Intraday structure, then prior day low and overnight low pretty much overlapped. We'll lift the trail a little bit more as price gets into target. And this ends up being a nice day in the XFAs. There's NQ cracking higher as well, coming for session highs. Looks like maybe a new high of day there on NQ. Yep. There it is. New high of day, NASDAQ. Good uptick in volume as well. And ES is getting into my target here, so I'm going to trail a bit tighter. Looking for this 612 session high area. So once this next candle closes, we'll come just beneath this candle. 2 seconds, 1 second. There you go. I'll flip back to NQ here in a sec. Positive plus 500. Nice, Dave. Highest volume of the sesh there on NASDAQ. And I may get trailed out here on ES.
Order filled.
We go trail to ES. It's a nice day on the XFAs, 1700. And the idea there again on ES, that's a pretty standard spring setup that I like to take. Let's get back over to NQ here. There we go. Rich in from 763, just trailed 824. Nice. Wow, you hammered that. Well done. Well done, Rich. Nicely done. How many trades do I usually take in a session? It really depends on the day, but I would say average between 1 and 3. That's in my personal account, which I trade live here on stream. So my current approach typically is on the stream, which is right now focusing on the personal account, looking for A plus opportunities for that account. And then if there is a B quality trade, then I have some prop firms that I'll use for those opportunities, those lower quality opportunities. NASDAQ has marked a session high. This consolidation has resolved higher. And what we want to see now is if buyers can show a continuation of this recent strength up into the overnight high. Of note, ES did not mark a session high. I'll probably give it another 10 minutes or so here before calling it. 5 minutes till 11 a.m. ES New Hive Day. Here comes overnight high on NQ. Let's see how that overnight high is going to be treated. Sellers right back in it right there. Good volume. Nice uptick in volume. Two minutes till 11. So really just looking to see if we get a setup that kind of aligns with 11 a.m. and that overnight high. If not, we'll call it a morning. And here comes 11 a.m. Back into session highs. There's your new high of day. There's overnight high. Not seeing a re-entry, so might just be time to call it. What I'm gonna be looking here for late morning is some action above overnight high with some market structure for an entry. We can kind of see that overnight high aligns with your prior day structure point, that resistance right through here. Oh, you can't see it. There you go. See that structure from yesterday, and the overnight high aligns right through there. So I want to see price move up through this area and then give some sort of market structure based entry like that. That would be my game plan for the rest of the morning until noon. Then at noon, call it a day. I don't trade past lunch personally. Overall, is a decent morning, lightly green on the personal so far. 1 for 2. Initial entry a bit aggressive there, but we recovered with the spring setup, and then of course you saw the ES spring setup in the XFAs. I'm gonna call it right there. I hope you guys had a good morning. Overall, range bound action, right? You got to be careful with this sort of action. Very easy to get chopped up. If you don't have super tight entries and you're trying to trade the range, super easy to just get chopped up through there. But that's a wrap. That is a wrap for me. We'll be live tomorrow, of course. Today, after the close, we do have the mentorship group coaching call. We're doing 2 this week. So if you're in the community, if you're in the Traders Think Tank community, keep an eye out for that after the close. Otherwise, I'll see you guys tomorrow morning. Thanks for your time. Take care.